to another episode of Moment of Tiki, coming to you from Lagoon of Mystery, my home tiki bar here in Central Texas. I'm really excited about today's episode because it's another road trip that's lined up for you. We are going to get on Interstate 10 and head east to Houston, where we are going to visit Lelo, one of the earliest tiki bars of the revival here in Texas, and certainly the oldest surviving one. And I'm really excited to share this one with you because it's been one of my favorites for many years, and it's just a great time to be had. So let's get going, okay? So I am here in Houston, Texas, visiting Lelo, the oldest and best tiki bar here in the Bayou City. And we're going to go in and talk with Russell Thoede, the mad genius mastermind behind this place, and find out all the secret history of Lelo and the great tropical cocktails that can be found here. Come on. We're sitting here with Russell Thoede, the mastermind behind Lelo, Houston's premier tiki bar. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the oldest surviving Texas tiki bar of the tiki revival. We had Ocean's 11 way back around 2000, 2001, and they went away, and there was a big drought until y'all came out in 2014 is when you opened up. So 11 years here.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't want to say we're the surviving member or whatever. Bars, all kinds of bars come and go.
Yeah.
But it's been really, we've been really lucky to make it this long for sure. It's been quite the journey.
Well, I always enjoy stopping in at Lelo whenever I'm in Houston.
Excellent.
And of course, one thing that I've noticed on all of our visits is that you have managed to thread the needle with Lelo, and not only is it a good immersive tiki bar, but it's also a neighborhood bar. I always see regulars in here, people who are comfortable, who, can you explain how, if that was intentional, or how that evolved over time, or how do you incorporate, the whole tikiphiles thing with people who may not have ever encountered tiki before?
Well, so intentional is probably a stretch, but we did want to. That's sort of how Houston bars are. Mm-hmm. We're a city that's not zoned.
Yeah.
So there are businesses everywhere. And so each neighborhood sort of kind of have its own identity. We were right at the start of when the Heights was starting to sort of become what it is now. It's a really populous place. It's lots of bars and restaurants over here now. When we started, there wasn't. It was still dry to the west of us, which that went away. I don't remember how long it's been, but it hasn't been within 10 years. And so there wasn't a lot going on around here. We liked it over here because we lived over here. So it was close. But like I said, that's sort of how neighborhood or how bars work in Houston. We're sort of neighborhood oriented. Our drinking class, if you want to call them, they kind of move around. Mm-hmm. The age group sort of stays around the same. It's like late 20s to 40s, but they move around the neighborhood based on what's popular. The Heights, just when we opened, just started to boom, and it really kind of put us where it could become a neighborhood bar. A lot of people started moving in over here. It is a very walkable neighborhood, which is something that's uncommon in Houston. It is still really hot over here, but it is it used to be pretty quiet. But it's just a really great place to have a bar. And so we just sort of lucked out in that we were that for the neighborhood. It's called Sunset Heights over here, so we kind of fit. It's kind of like we had an identity. So it just sort of happened, kind of organically, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's hit the Wayback Machine, go back a way. How did you first initially get interested or involved in Tiki? What is your secret origin story for that?
So it started with rum.
That's a good place to start.
I was working as I was a sommelier. I was dabbling in cocktails. Cocktails weren't really that popular. This is like 2007.
Oh, okay.
Starting to sort of see the scene of cocktails becoming a thing. And I took a job at a pub that we made sort of what you would say New York style cocktails.
Okay.
Like things like Death and Co., things like that.
Boozy and stirred.
About to get some mic.
Oh, that's fine. That's cool.
So yeah, we made different kind of New York style cocktails, but I didn't get to go with them. But they took a little tour around New York and saw some bars and things. And so when I took over as the like bar manager, I wanted to change the wine. I wanted to change the cocktails a little bit. We had a large gin selection. We had a decent Scotch selection. We had a pitiful rum selection. And when I told so the whole premise behind the pub was, we served food from around the Victorian Empire.
Oh, okay.
So we had Jamaican food. We had mostly Indian food.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a curry pub kind of thing.
Sure.
But the chef dabbled in all sorts of food. And so I was like, well, if we're going to have, some jerk chicken and things like that, and we're going to have English or British things, we need rum drinks.
Because that's some Jamaican rum at least.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what, British people, you make punches and things like that. So the owner kind of put me and said, hey, well, if you're going to bring a bunch of rum in here, it's got to work, meaning it's got to sell.
Sure.
And so it sort of just pushed me to start studying rum. Coming from a wine background, it was really easy to transition into rum. Every winery and region in the world kind of does something a little bit different. So my brain was already sort of adapt to learning all the little nuances of each distillery and each island and such. And so I started really liking it. And while there was not a ton of classic rum drinks, there's not a ton of like classic stirred rum drinks, but there is a lot of Trader Vic drinks.
Oh yeah.
So I found Trader Vic, got some old books, and then by my destiny, I found it was at Half Price Books. It was Beach Bum Berries Remix.
Ah.
And I read that book, and that doesn't have a lot of the history in it, but it just started talking about the forefathers and things like that. And I started making drinks out of that book. And I simply had umbrellas and made Mai Tais and Planter's Punches and things. And I put umbrellas in drinks, and people would just, they thought it was so special. And the heat and everything here, it was really good for that. People love margaritas here, so if you can get them to sort of branch out into something rummy, they'll come around to it. So it became my style as a bartender. And then Sippin' Safari got me to dive deep into Donn the Beachcomber. And that was it. Once I found Donn the Beachcomber and started really learning about the history and, reading his biography and reading that weird spiral bound book that he had. And I really like cocktail books. I have tons of them. And so once I found out on Beachcomber, it made sense to me that this was sort of, like more and more I progressed, I wanted to do something with rum. But obviously I can't open a Jamaican place. I'm not Jamaican. I've been to Jamaica a few times, but it just wouldn't be authentic, right? Sure. And so to me, it was like Donn the Beachcomber. He's this, guy from Texas. Well, I'm from Texas. He, likes to embellish things. Well, I like to embellish things. He liked to sort of, fake it till he make it and sort of cut his own path. And that's kind of what I've done. And so it just felt right to me that a tiki bar was sort of like where I wanted to head. I worked for some other people that I learned a lot of stuff. I don't want to say like, if they can do it, I can do it. It just sort of opened my, it wasn't as mystical. Once you start working for normal people and learning the ins and outs and learning the little tricks, and realizing like, oh, restaurants, yeah, it's tough. Bars are tough, but it's just hard work. And if you put it in, so that was really where it started for me, was progressing through rum, and then Donn the Beachcomber just opened everything up, and that really was where I wanted to do this.
Okay. So now you're at the point where you're ready to open your own tiki bar. So my understanding, you and your wife Elizabeth pretty much hand built this whole thing yourselves.
We did.
Is that what was involved with that? Did you go into this having a vision exactly what you wanted to, or did it evolve organically as y'all were putting it together?
We had a pretty good idea through. The build out process is always dealing with the city. Mm-hmm. This was a office before, so we had to do a change of use. And so the build out process took way longer than expected.
As it does with all bars.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we had a period of time that we had a starting sort of goal, and then we had time to evolve as we sort of pieced it together and found things. I mean, we were on a budget. So, we didn't have the booths, we didn't have the idea of what we were going to do, but we had an idea of what we wanted, that was in the space. Luckily, I had a garage. It was a rent house that we were renting in. And I guess he was like a construction worker or something, lived there before. I had a garage that was really big. And so while the contractor was doing the plumbing, the electrical, things like that, we actually built this like modularly as a module in my garage. So it's pieces of welded together. It's like 3/4 inch tubing. And then we took it all apart and brought it up here and then put it back together. So we had time to sort of figure it out and stare at it and be like, well, we didn't have as much trim as we wanted, right? Carved trim. And it's like, well, we need that. We need to do this and we need to do that. And it was able to be sculpted. But we did have an idea. We had a lot of stuff that we had found on the internet that we liked, like the way that we did the matting on the walls. That's actually the previous Polynesian resort in Disneyland. Oh. It's behind their beds.
Okay.
And so it was sort of like you could tell that a craftsman made a headboard, but it looked like that. And it was like, well, that would be really easy to do, And so we just kind of mapped it out, measured everything, and just had an idea. And then we lived amongst bamboo, and we had to walk down like a 2-foot path in our living room. That all the rolls of bamboo and everything was in there. So I mean, yeah, it was something that we crafted and built. And then it wasn't complete when we first started. I mean, it needed a lot. It's still not complete. I mean, I feel like I'm gonna finally finish and then we're gonna post. So,
well, I've made the comment before, every time I come here, there's something new, not just something that I hadn't seen before, but it's constantly adding new bits and pieces here and there. And then I see stuff that I missed previously. It's like,
sure.
I got that now. So it's a different experience every time I come in.
That's really fun. I like it when people say that. That means that they care and they're looking. I mean, we could put all kinds of stuff on the walls, but like I said, it's just not. I didn't get to do everything I wanted to do at first, and it's fun. It keeps me busy. It keeps me sane. So it is. Like I said, it's a huge art project that one day it'll be done.
Okay, so this is just your first bar here in Houston.
It is, yes.
But you have Loose Cannon.
I do
as well. Uh-huh. So, having opened Lelo, what was your thinking process when you went and opened this other space? And what was your focus? What did you learn from here that applied to that? What was the thinking behind it?
Well, you have to, just like with anything, you have to kind of diversify. Like we said earlier, neighborhoods change and sort of popularity goes to another neighborhood. Some guys that I'm in business with here opened the bar that previously was Loose Cannon. It was called Might As Well Lounge. And they were ahead of the pandemic.
Okay.
Pandemic was really hard for them. But when they opened it, I just liked it. It's a bar from the 50s. It's been nothing but a bar. For someone like us to get that, that's really, we're competing with big fish with lots of deep pockets. So for someone like us to get that, and my business partners to get it, the lady that owned it lived across the street and she passed away. her daughter offered it to him. So it was a just a chance, right? I just loved it. We had talked about opening sort of like the complement to Lelo being like, this is sort of like the hula girl pretty place. We wanted to do like the Salty Sailor, like somewhere else. We had some other ideas what we wanted to do, so we were kind of working on it like that was going to be a second complement kind of thing to it. And then the way that they built it out with wood and starch stain over there, it just said to me that that had to be. And I just sort of, kind of visualized it and made it happen in my head and bugged the hell out of those guys. And once the pandemic sort of, they never lost any money, but they never made any money. They finally convinced themselves that it would probably be a good idea to let me have it. And so we came to a deal and they sold it to me.
Nice.
And we put a little bit of effort into it, but mostly stuff on the walls.
Okay.
The same kind of thing. I hear that over there too. It's like every time I come here, there's something new. That's cool. I have a lot of stuff to add over there too. So.
Yeah. Okay, so your love for rum is obvious. And I'm interested in what was your philosophy behind the menu build out here with this? Obviously, you have a lot of the historic tiki menus, the tiki books, Jeff Beachmont Berry with his archaeology there, the original, Trader Vic books where he shared his recipes and stuff. When you approached designing the menu, because y'all have some really great original cocktails as well as a lot of classics on there. So how did you approach designing the menu?
Well, I wanted to sort of have a balance between the two. It's obviously very important to show the past and show what came before us. That's the whole thing to us at Lelo, the drinks are what's most important. That's what we're selling. It is a business after all. But that's what's unique. You can put bamboo and whatever you want on the walls. But if you don't have the drinks that match it, then it's not really a tiki bar. So we wanted to show where it came from, and then we wanted to showcase also sort of modern technique. The old way, there's been a lot of advancements in bartending since then. So there's a lot of stuff, you see it. You see fat wash stuff, infusions were something that was,
Donn Beach wasn't fat washing?
No. Well, I mean, there might have been something he was doing that.
Oh, he's a mad scientist, right? Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
The ice was different. There's a lot of things that were different. So we wanted to sort of balance between modern technique and kind of the old style. I didn't really think of it at first, but we saw sort of as we progressed and got busier, people were coming from from here in Texas, but they knew what they were talking about. And so we needed to be able to make some of those drinks, because a lot of people are just going to walk in here and not even look at the menu and just be like, I want a Nui Nui. So, well, crap, I don't know how to make a Nui Nui, which that's embarrassing, right? Yeah. And so we had to sort of make sure everybody knew. And so we needed a balance between both old school drinks and sort of our own. Also with bartenders, that's one of the most fun things is making new drinks. So having them kind of dabble in new drinks and things like that, that's a good way to keep their interest. But it was trying to find a balance between the two.
Okay. Yeah. So with your original cocktails, I'm going to tell a story here. In my life, I have asked bars for their cocktail recipes exactly 2 times. One of those was for the Signal Fire,
I remember
and
that.
The other time was for the Rummy Bear. Both Lelo staples here. Unique is a word that is overused, I think, but both of those flavor profiles in those cocktails were unique. I found them fascinating, and they just lingered with me after I left. And unfortunately, Lelo's a little bit of a drive from where we live in New Braunfels.
Yeah.
So I reached out, and you were gracious enough to share those recipes with me. What is y'all's philosophy towards developing original cocktails? What does it take to get on the Lelo menu?
again, is a word that you probably, it's all through our like training manuals and everything. Balance is so important when it comes to drinks. Our balance is tipped a little more to the sour side because with a tiki drink, it melts. Sugar and water are enemies. They really, so if you have that acidity that sort of drives the boat, if you will, it'll keep the taste buds going. It'll keep you interested. It'll make all the flavors pop. Where if it's just sugary, it's just muddy. You can't really taste anything. You can tell that with a lot of rums that have added sugar. It sort of dumbs down their flavor, So having that balance that's sort of shifted a little more to the acidic kind of thing is very important. The way I make drinks, I come from a culinary background. Now, I don't cook, but I've worked at restaurants and things like that. A really good chef makes really good classic dishes. A really bad chef makes fusion dishes that are just a hodgepodge. And a lot of people can pull it off and they're amazing. But a lot of people can't. And if you can't, as a chef, make a beef Wellington or something like a French style sauce, you really can't make your own, right? And so I like to stick to classic things and just sort of tweak it a little bit here. Like you said, the signal fire. So the fog cutter is my tiki Negroni. When you first become a bartender, you make a Negroni, you're like, oh my God, what is this? You learn to love it. And you learn to kind of adapt to it and twist it a little bit here, tweak it a little there, and put your own spin on it. The first fog cutter you ever make is terrible. Especially if you go by the Trader Vic recipe where I think it's got 2 ounces of lemon juice in it.
Something like that, yeah.
That's insane, right? And so I had to make it good. And so that was a drink that I have made so many versions of the fog cutter over the years. And that was something that I obsessed about. I was gonna make the fog cutter make sense. For the signal fire, it's a fog cutter. It's kind of broke down into something like, there's a brown liquor, that's the Scotch. I don't really, the recipe doesn't come off my head. I know there's apricot instead of orange curacao.
Right.
I believe the orgeat was swapped with something a little bit. Maybe it was a walnut or something like that. It might have just been regular orgeat. But it was just something that I just wanted to tweak a little bit. And that's something that, they're a really easy way to do it, just tweak the little things, but you have to adjust it, make it work, and just find it. So that's how kind of my style is. I like to take classic drinks. But we taste them, we see if it fits, we see where our holes are as far as what we want to sell. Also, if they sell or not is really important.
Yeah.
The way that they flow, the way people read them on the menu, the wording, the way they look. I mean, there's a lot of things, but flavor is number one. They gotta taste good, and they gotta taste good for just about everybody. That's important too.
Okay, so our friend Jason, who's done a lot of great work for y'all here,
he has
recently opened Uncharted in New Braunfels, and you were the consultant on their opening drink menu.
Yes.
What is the difference? What is it like consulting and working for another bar and helping them develop their menu as opposed to opening, with Lei Low or Loose Cannon and that? What kind of considerations do you have to take into effect when you are, consulting with someone else?
Well, so this would be considered my first consulting job.
Oh, really?
I guess.
Oh, okay.
But I'd be honest.
Good job.
Bro, thank you. I'll be honest with you. Running a bar is sort of a consulting gig to begin with. At least the way I like it. I like to develop concepts. I feel like people that go out to eat, go out for drinks, they want to be, there's a reason they come. They want to be entertained. And so I think developing concepts and putting a little thought into it and just tweaking the details and things, that's really how you get return customers. And like I say, every time I come here, there's something different. So working with somebody else, it's not that hard. I know what I like. I know what he wanted. He was, very clear with what he wanted. The biggest part is trying to make sure the skill levels are the same. That I'm not making things too complicated. My wife does most of the prep here.
Okay.
She's a culinary school graduate. She's worked at some of the best restaurants in the city. She used to be a kitchen manager and run brunches and things like that. So she has skills. I have skills. Not saying Jason doesn't have skills, but Jason's not from the bar world. Plus, I don't know what his staff is going to be like. So trying to figure out skill levels and making sure that things are not too complicated and not too hard to do. And then, which was something I didn't, and I hope Jason is finding his way. I've noticed that there's been some changes. I don't really know the palette of New Braunfels. Mm-hmm. I've worked in Houston my entire life in my career. I've worked in other cities too, but I've been in Houston a long time. I know what people in Houston like. Yeah. I don't know what people in New Braunfels like. And most people, I mean, it's a tourist town, so people are from everywhere. So finding that, we wanted, it was like, we need to make sure that it's Tiki and it satisfies all of the things. So that was a challenge. And then, trying to make sure that the quality is, I'm a control freak. And I believe Jason is a stand-up guy. He really cares and he knows detail. And that's one of the reasons that I agreed to it. Otherwise, I might, if it was somebody else, I don't want to help you. I don't want my name put on something and it be a flop. And that, I give you all this work, I put all this effort into it, and then you don't care, and you mess it all up and it still has my name on it. That's just, I can't handle that. That would drive me nuts. It's one of the reasons that I haven't really consulted. And so making sure and being able to be, you can have it, make sure you do this way. Make sure, I wasn't really that way with Jason. It's his bar. He can run it the way he wants. Like I said, I'm proud to be a part of that. So it's not like I was worried about it. But that's really hard for me to just let somebody take the reins and take my work and take something I put effort into it and just turn it into, because that's happened to me plenty of times through the years.
Okay. One more thing before I let you go, because I know you got to prep for opening. You recently acquired the immediately adjacent space.
We have, yes.
What are the plans for this space and the future of Lelo? What are we going to do with that? What can folks look forward to?
So it's still being developed in my head, but think a little more. We want to do a little more immersive. We want to make it seem like it's an outdoor space, kind of similar to a lot of the bars that are in San Francisco. They all have sort of starry ceilings and such. Sort of like a terrace or something, reminiscent of Hawaii, but not really Hawaii. Obviously, we're a tiki bar. But again, it's still being developed. The idea is sort of, we have a really popular drink that's called Shipwrecked on Tiki Island.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to make you a Shipwrecked on Tiki Island. So this is a blended drink. It's sort of an origin story as a mystery gardenia. We knew that if we made pina coladas, we would get kicked out of the Tiki Club. So we wanted to make sure that we had something that kind of sufficed for a pina colada. Somebody came in. We eventually decided that we would just make pina coladas. But so this was sort of a mixture of the two drinks. So it's a banana, guava, pineapple, and then a secret ingredient we call tiki butter. It's not really a secret, but it is our version of gardenia mix from Donn the Beachcomber. It is actually something I found in a recipe book. It was like 1,000 rum drinks or something like that. And it was the hot buttered rum batter for a hot buttered rum. I just thought it was an interesting kind of thing, and it was an ice cream that was mixed with butter. So my wife, who's the chef, kind of designed it. So it's basically a caramel that is emulsified with melted ice cream. It is a butter mix that we can leave out. It doesn't won't go bad, and then it is ice cream that we can use for things like bushwhackers or other drinks like that. So that was a little bit of Demerara simple syrup. Here is some coconut rum. Give me a little coconut flavor. A little molassesy. Some people say that this tastes like pancakes, which I don't know if that's good or not. All right. So we go crushed ice. Ice is very important. Blend. It's important not to over blend. So a little chalice. All right, here's this. So shipwrecked on Tiki Island. So here's our little Tiki Island. There's a straw. All right, there you go. And so we kind of want to make Shipwrecked on Tiki Island become a space. So we're going to sort of dapple with that idea.
Okay. So we have any kind of time frame? Can we look forward to that in 2026 or you know?
Yes, 2026 for sure.
Nail you down. January 1st.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. You heard it. Hold him to it.
Yes. 2026. My wife will be happy about that too.
All right, Russell, thank you for putting up with us today.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. And until next time, in Lagoon Mystery, aloha.
Aloha.